Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, this is BestInSlot, and tonight we're going to do a recap slash sort of review of Triassic World, a film by The Asylum. These are the people responsible for Sharknado and a huge host of other mockbusters that tend to release just before big summer blockbuster films in an attempt to cash in. Triassic World came out earlier this year and of course is trying to cash in on the hype for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Little warning before we get started, this video will have a hell of a lot of spoilers in, but can you really spoil a film like this? So, Triassic World then. Well, Triassic Labs, as it probably should have been called. The entirety of the film takes place inside a single laboratory complex with, surprise surprise, terrible security. Who saw that coming, eh? There's only one species of dinosaur present in the entire film, which is actually a bit of a disappointment for me, and it's called you know what, I'm still not sure, but I think it's a Gojirasaurus or something, and it looks like a small, fat T-Rex raptor hybrid thing. In all honesty, the actual design is a little bit daft, but the CGI and the puppet they use are definitely a step above some of the films I've had to endure recently. The basic premise of the film is that they're breeding these dinosaurs which have human DNA interwoven within them in order to make their organs viable for transplant, thus saving millions of lives potentially. It's at no point actually explained how they made these dinosaurs in the first place, or why this same methodology couldn't work on, say, a cow, or even a herbivorous dinosaur. No, clearly it must be a fat, angry raptor, or the organs would be no good. That's science. This human DNA does come into play a little later on as the fat raptors experience human drives like revenge, though again I have no idea how the integration of defunct human proteins, as they are called in the film, suddenly make it so the fat raptors can contemplate the world as a human can. Anyway, the majority of the film is made up of a bunch of humans, security guys, rich man and his incredibly infuriating sidekick who just won't bloody die already, the woman responsible for the fat raptors, a couple of sciencey sort of people, and the head of the facility, all running and hiding and being eaten. The facility goes into lockdown until they can apprehend an escaped raptor, and there's a backup failsafe that activates some toxic gas. Basically, all these little mechanisms are there to keep the humans running around and being eaten. Speaking of being eaten, the film is surprisingly gory. I mean, I would not show this to your kids if, unlike me, you're not going to die alone. You don't really see viscera per se, but you see an absolutely incredible amount of blood. I swear, half their budget must have been spent on the stuff. And you see heads and limbs being torn off pretty often actually. It was actually oddly enjoyable at times. Maybe that says more about me than the film, but it was nice to see dinosaurs treated as this brutal, bloodthirsty threat and to actually see the impact they have so graphically. There is definitely a little bit more to the plot than just, blood and dinosaurs, but to be honest it all felt a little slapdash and poorly thought out, so it's not really that worth mentioning. There's approximately, and this is only approximate, 72,000 story threads, all left sort of just dangling like a proverbial half-eaten limb. There's some stuff about the dinosaurs searching for their mother, some brief hints at the dinosaurs being trained near the start of the film, all the stuff about the human emotions they're feeling, other bits with some virus that everyone has somehow contracted a la The Walking Dead, but it actually means absolutely blimmin' nothing in reality, and definitely some others that I've missed along the way. The core of the film is pretty well directed at times, and though the constant pink hue it has for some reason and boring setting did wear me down eventually, I actually enjoyed my time with the film overall. It just needed to focus in on a few sharply defined plot points. The same could pretty much be said for the characters, who were, at least in part, surprisingly not that bad. They clearly shoved a few too many in there just so they could up the gore quota as these people get killed off, the red shirts as they would be called, but the ones who survived to near the end ended up being reasonably interesting people. The head of the facility in particular had intriguing motives and drives, and it was rarely clear whether we should actually be rooting for her or not. The head of security and the woman responsible for making the fat raptors were both decently acted and well-rounded characters as well. Then there's the others. Near the start of the film, a rich investor appears to look around the lab. He gets done over pretty quickly, but leaves behind a short brunette girl who is meant to be, I don't know, his assistant, his daughter? She never calls him dad, but she dresses like every single 18-year-old girl on the planet who just totally loves Hot Topic. I don't understand why she exists or why she survives so bloody long, but I just kept hoping again and again that she would die so I'd stop having to listen to her whine all the time. Characters being annoying is okay, just look at the Babadook for example, but it has to serve a purpose, and she was just a pain in the ass really. The others don't do much either, other than one of the science guys who was partly responsible for the genetic makeup of the dinosaurs. Again, it was another plot point that was just completely unexplored. At one point his girlfriend, science girl, gets torn apart, and this dude decides to go all Rambo on the fat raptor, literally double fists some drills as he attacks it. It's an absolutely bizarre scene with all these mini jump cuts and this dude screaming his head off as he gets absolutely doused in raptor blood. It's honestly like something out of The Evil Dead, and I think they could have leaned more into that campy over the top direction. Either way, he takes down this one escaped fat raptor, 2 drills in its head, G32 as that raptor was called, and the day is saved. But oh, another raptor randomly breaks out like, 2 seconds later. Oh well. Overall though, I think I actually enjoyed Triassic World, despite myself. The acting was surprisingly okay, and the weird and at times campy blood-soaked nature of it all at least kept me awake. No, the plot really isn't anything at all. It's a jumble of sciencey sounding words smashed together in the hopes it forms something coherent and intelligent sounding, but instead just comes across as nonsensical. But the minute-to-minute action is perfectly enjoyable at least. I wouldn't watch it again because I'm not absolutely insane, but I don't feel like I wasted my 90 minutes, which is probably more than you can say for a lot of films of this nature. To close then, here's a few of my notes directly copied from my notepad that I fill up as I watch these films. It's been 20 minutes and half the planet is dead. This film wastes no time getting to the action, let me tell you. Why can't they pretend the raptor has been captured and deactivate the lockdown? Question mark. This was bugging me for the entire film. Why are they saying they have to capture the raptor? Does the system somehow have to detect it in its cage or something? Just bleh. I really hope this girl dies soon. Soz love. Second security guy is dying. Solution is not medical aid, but it's apparently fresh orange juice. It was a pretty weird scene. Dude is double fisting drills. My hero. She's finally dead. I was so happy when she died. It was nice and brutal as well. That's what you want. Kind of shades of Jurassic World and what's her name? Oh, I forgot her name. British lass. I can't remember her name. Anyways, we're going to end it there. Thank you for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. If you're looking to kill 90 minutes and see people being eaten by fat raptor T-Rex hybrid things, you could do a little bit worse, you could do a lot better, but hey, it's not the worst dinosaur film I've ever seen. That's not saying much, most dinosaur films are terrible, but here we are. We have to work with what we've got. Thanks for joining me, cheers, much love as always. Bye-bye. Quick little shout out at the end. This video and others like it would not be possible at all without the support of you guys watching me at home, and also everyone on this Patreon page right here who supported me in the last month. If you want to help out as well, you can do so at patreon.com/bestinslot. Every little really helps. Cheers.